Hi everybody, today's story is called The Salmon Princess, and it's an Alaskan Cinderella story, and it's written by Mindy Dwyer. There once was a place where a girl could walk across the sea on the backs of so many wild salmon. Salmon are a fish, and they live and spawn in Alaska. You may have had salmon. It's the orange fish. It's very delicious. It was here in the southeast Alaska, a fisherman, his wife, and their daughter called home. They lived at the edge of a shadowy rainforest where waterfalls made music with the drip, drip of the rain. It was a happy life, though it was full of very hard work. Did you know there was a rainforest in Alaska? While the fisherman plucked fish from his nets, mother and daughter smoked the salmon on the beach. Sweet smoke spiraled into the sky as they sang songs from a long time ago, a time when anything was possible. So the mom and the daughter would clean the salmon and smoke it. Smoking fish is another way of preserving it, so you can eat it without cooking it. It's also very delicious. One winter, the mother died suddenly. Cold rain poured from the sky. The daughter's tears ran like rivers of sadness into the salty sea. The fisherman had sadness in his heart, like a great net bursting with fish. Years passed, and eventually the fisherman remarried. His new wife had 2 strong sons who quickly learned to catch fish. With 3 fishermen, the net swelled with salmon. The stepmother refused to clean the fish and gave that stinky, slimy job to the girl. Here's all the fish. And there's the new stepmother and her 2 sons. The girl's name was Cinder because of her smoky gray eyes that sparked like fire. Cinder had a favorite place in the forest at the base of an ancient cedar tree. She went there to smoke salmon the way her mother had taught her. When the fisherman looked into his daughter's eyes, it wasn't the spark he saw, but the memory of the girl's mother looking at him. He buried his grief with more and more fish as the years drifted by. If you see, there's all the salmon, and she's smoking the salmon. She looks sad. One summer, the fisherman returned home with news of a silver salmon festival on the mainland with a carousel, contest, and a dance, followed by a raffle for a grand prize of real silver bars. In all the excitement, Cinder overheard her brothers talking about raffle tickets. They hoped to win the silver and buy a faster boat to catch more and more fish. If Cinder won the silver, she would not buy a salmon boat. She was already drowning in salmon. When Cinder asked to go to the festival, her stepmother said, "No, there are too many fish to clean." Her father sadly said, "Indeed, there are all those fish." She wanted to go to the dance more than anything she had ever wanted before. With the ease of a grizzly bear, she sliced all the slippery salmon clean. She was very good at her job, but wow, look at all those salmon. Cinder ran into the forest. "Even if I could go, I have nothing to wear to the dance. All my clothes stink of fish," she thought. Sitting under the cedar tree, she remembered her mother's sweet voice and began singing softly. In the twilight, she saw a little silver stars peeking through the branches, and then she couldn't believe what she saw next. An eagle dropped something from the sky. A shimmering salmon flopped on the ground at Cinder's feet. There's the eagle. As soon as she picked it up, she realized it was a shiny dress sewn with soft silver threads fit for a princess. "Cinder," the eagle said, "anything is possible. Go to the dance, but remember, you must return the dress before dawn. The silver will disappear in the light of day." Cinder slipped into the silver dress and looked up to thank the eagle, but it was gone. Then she looked down at her Sitka slippers, the heavy rubber boots that the southeast Alaskans wore. Luckily, the dress was long and covered her boots. Beautiful dress. Wearing her new gown, Cinder headed to the festival. She remembered to bring some of her smoked salmon so she could buy raffle tickets. Running toward the dock, Cinder saw the brothers' fishing boat pull out into the bay. "I'll hop across on the swimming salmon if I have to." Then, seeing the skiff, Cinder jumped in and started it up just as she had seen her father do millions of times. The skiff pushed through the water, glowing like the train of a great wedding gown. She goes off in her skiff, a little boat. Oh, the Silver Salmon Festival was a sight more wonderful than a dream. Cinder had never seen so many colorful lights. She saw a boy looking at her, and her stomach did a flip-flop, just like a fish out of water. Their eyes met briefly, but before the boy could ask her name, she ran off to sell her salmon, and then bought as many raffle tickets as she could. Riding on the carousel. Cinder found a long line of dancers and jumped in. When the boy saw, when the boy saw the girl's wild red hair and her smoky gray eyes that sparked, he was hooked. Circling left, circling right, Cinder and her dance partner spun like the hands of a clock. Her long hair, he could smell smoke as they twirled into the night. At the glimmer of first light, Cinder remembered the eagle. She sprinted off the dance floor and down to the dock toward her skiff. There she goes. What do you think she might lose? Her boot caught in a net. As she wrestled with it, she dropped the raffle tickets. Cinder hopped into the skiff and hurried across the bay to return the dress, leaving her boot behind. The boy followed her to the dock. First he found the lone boot, and then he found the raffle tickets, but the girl was gone. Back at the festival, one of the girl's tickets held the winning number, and there were only 24 hours to collect the prize. He had to find her, but everyone wore those big rubber boots. It would be nearly impossible to find the match. The girl could be on any one of 100 islands. The boy searched every island and every bay, and he was about to give up when an eagle, circling overhead, led him to a dock. See the eagle? Up here. On shore, he announced that he was looking for a girl with sparkling eyes who had won a prize. Cinder's father was confused, and her stepmother laughed. "The only girl who lives here is covered in fish slime." Seeing a sparkle in their sister's eyes they never noticed before, Cinder's brothers locked her in the smokehouse and tried to think of a way to claim the prize. Cinder fired up the old smoker and began to sing as smoke soared into the air. The boy followed the delightful song and the sweet scent. She is inside the smokehouse. Unlocking the smokehouse door, he saw the girl he had been searching for. The boy smiled, and Cinder's heart skipped like a smooth rock across the water. "Cinder," her father called out, looking for her. "Cinder? She's my Cinderella," the boy cheered and offered her the boot. It fit Cinderella, and she collected her prize of silver bars. She learned that the boy's father owned the King Salmon Cannery. "So that makes you a salmon prince," she giggled. Was he a real prince? When they married, Cinderella became the salmon princess, and they lived happily ever after. Cinderella's stepmother was stuck cleaning salmon, so she went back to the lower 48 states. The brothers ended up at the salmon cannery working long, hard hours cleaning salmon. Cinderella forgave her father, and he lived a long, happy life as a fisherman, eating a healthy diet of salmon. With the silver she had won, Cinderella bought a homestead up north in the interior. She and the prince farmed prize-winning cabbages bigger than any salmon, and they had 3 daughters. Cinderella taught them to sing her mother's songs and to believe that anything is possible. And there's Cinderella. In time, the prince would take over his father's business at King Salmon, and Cinderella believed one day they would all return home just like the salmon. Another very different Cinderella story. Let's take a look. So what did they call the girl in the story? They called her Cinder. Was there a fairy godmother in this story? Do you know who it was? It was the eagle. Was there a stepmother? Yes, there was, but there weren't 2 stepsisters. There were 2 stepbrothers who liked to fish. Was there a beautiful dress in the story? Yes, it was. It looked like the skin of a salmon, all shiny and sparkly. Did she go to the festival in a coach? No, she went in a skiff, a tiny little boat. Did she lose her glass slipper? Nope, she lost her boot, and she lost something else. Do you remember what else she lost? She lost the raffle tickets. And was there a prince in the story? He wasn't really a real prince, was he? He worked at the salmon canning factory, but it was called the King Salmon Factory. Maybe his last name was King. And did they live happily ever after? Yes, they did. I hope you enjoyed our story today, and I'll be back next week with more Cinderella stories.